Hi, my name is Dr. Keith Mirante with Coastal Chiropractic in Madison, Connecticut. I'm here with two amazing attorneys.
Hi, my name is AnneMarie Rocco. I practice with the law firm of Dzialo, Pickett, and Allen, where I'm a partner. I do litigation, specifically personal injury, injury-related law.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Rutkowska. I'm also a partner at Dzialo, Pickett and Allen, doing similar work to AnneMarie as well. Just noting we also have offices in Middletown and the Shoreline area in Old Saybrook.
So today we want to bring an educational segment about insurances and motor vehicle insurance coverages. Insurance is always one of those things that you don't necessarily want to ever use, but when something does happen, you want to make sure that you're protected and covered the proper way. So I'd like to ask them some information that can help save us potentially in the future in the unfortunate circumstance of a motor vehicle accident. So is there anything you can share about different circumstances or insurances that we should look at and make sure that we are or are not covered for?
Sure. One of the areas that you want to be familiar with is something called MedPay. It's medical payments coverage. That's a form of coverage that's available through your auto policy, and what it does is provide primary coverage should you be in an accident of some type. So the way to determine whether you have MedPay is to go check your declarations page of your auto policy or speak with your insurance agent. It's relatively inexpensive. It's usually in amounts of $1,000, $5,000, perhaps $10,000, and very generous MedPay coverage. And as I said, it's the primary insurance before other forms of payment providers kick in.
Also, rental coverage is something that you should consider making sure you have in your policy as well. It is something that may be standard on your collision coverage to make sure you cover yourself. And that's something you want to make sure that you have in sufficient numbers so that you can cover yourself if there's a liability issue. Another thing to think about that's important is in those circumstances where, let's say, you have either a motorcycle or you have a young driver with a car that's not necessarily worth a lot. A lot of folks won't get the collision coverage because they figure what they pay for the coverage is going to be just as expensive as just paying for the car. The downside to that is that if there's any liability issue whatsoever with the insurance coverage or with a liability issue with the collision, you may be out of pocket for that rental coverage. So it's something that you should consider having, and again, something that's relatively inexpensive.
The other insurance considerations that you should be aware of is something called UM and UIM coverage. UM coverage stands for uninsured motorist coverage, and UIM stands for underinsured motorist coverage. Now, this is insurance that you have on your own policy, and why it is important is because if you're in a collision and the other driver is either uninsured, meaning they have no insurance whatsoever, or they have a modest amount of insurance, like a $20,000, $40,000 policy, your UM or UIM insurance would kick in to make sure that you are adequately compensated for whatever injuries and damages that you have as a result of that accident. You should really check your policy and talk with your agent. If you have 20/40 UIM coverage, you're basically paying for nothing. So it's important to get adequate coverage. If you are in a serious accident, it's the one type of insurance that's really going to help you be adequately compensated. The other thing you can talk to your insurance agent about is something called conversion coverage, which is essentially if you have $20,000, $40,000 coverage, but it's conversion coverage, it would apply after payment of the insurance on the other driver's vehicle. So those are two very important insurance considerations.
Yeah, and unfortunately we see it on the backside too often. Once something happens, then you're scrambling and trying to understand what your coverage is. So if there's a message to take from this, really try to be proactive in understanding what your coverages are. So in the unfortunate circumstance something does happen, you really know what you're up against. So thank you, ladies, for providing this information, and see you guys soon.